Thanks for joining me on this fashion accountability journey. The fashion industry is a $3 trillion industry employing 3.4 billion workers annually and globally. Approximately 40,000 of these workers are designers, and more than half of the world's designers are employed in the US. These designers are the very ones who make decisions in their daily work that have huge global impacts. For this project, I've created the fictitious brand Brand New, and they've made a huge decision to produce their products with the planet and its people in mind. They have crafted a brand new organizational mission statement stating how they will, quote, offer fresh apparel joyfully designed for the mindfully modern customer using responsible materials and processes. They will do all of this for all of their products by the end of 2025. Brand new stakeholders are the brand's fashion designers. The designer's first goal is to create the spring 2022 line with a minimum of 50% of its finished product being generated from sustainable fibers, materials, and manufacturing processes that are set up to do no harm. This could in fact mean that each item has some aspect of its creation that involves sustainably derived components. Or it could mean that some of the items in the line are 100% sustainable and even circularly manufactured, while others in the line are 0% sustainable using traditional processes. The products will be measured against the industry standard and benchmarks from the organizations that do that work according to Brand New's declarations. The stakeholder goals are huge, but their brand's reputation is dependent on them doing it right, and these brand new designers are determined to learn how. Emergent designers in design school today are now being introduced to sustainable methodologies and design thinking. Professional designers, however, working in the field for over a decade or so, do not have industry experience nor academic training in sustainable practices. This leaves the designers without the skills or knowledge to create industry change. The choices that designers make in their daily work impacts the world they live in and work in. Their accountability for these choices is therefore challenging their external credibility and their internal validity. For brand new stakeholders to achieve their goals and for the brand to reach its 2025 organizational goals, training is needed. To bring everybody in the company up to date, to train them so that they can commit their practices to meet their values, the designers and the design development team members need to be offered the tools the industry requires for them to be able to make their sustainable, correct choices. By understanding their action impacts and learning new skills that will allow the designers to create each season, each garment, and each product line sustainably, the design team is excited to join the It Begins with Design workshop, because they hold sustainability in fashion as the direction for the industry's future. The designers wish to ensure that they are capable of identifying and summarizing the new terms and knowledge so that they can integrate the learning into their fiber and materials analysis and apply their choices to the design of sustainable creations. And then capably, they will be able to transfer these skills seasonally, annually, and on into the future. A fashion designer's ontological relationship with fashion is personal. It begins with a designer's internal choices driven by aesthetics and functionality and creative passions, and this often leads to market sector choices. Design choices can determine customer brand allegiance and alignment. Individual design accountability is often overshadowed, however, by brand decisions driven by profit and loss bottom lines. Educated designers will be able to help direct organizational best practices and to stay on point. Fashion's epistemological accountability binary is a responsibility to our global and our local communities. It's a responsibility to the relationships we have with who, where, and how. Design choices that begin with fiber lead to people and locations, to manufacturing agents who determine the fiber and who determine who in the supply chain will work with us. How the cotton is grown, is it organic or is it GMO seed, determines one path. How it is treated beyond the fiber is yet another story. These epistemological relationships are complicated by a global supply chain, by language and distance, by ethics, and by profit outcomes. A quadruple bottom line driven by purpose is weighed against a simple profit and loss margin. Three key components of accountability learning. One, understanding accountability and ethics for shaping organizational goals and actions. Two, gaining the language for ontological and epistemological relationships. This has helped me to clarify the complicated relational impacts that sit within the global fashion industry. And three, identifying how internal and external accountability are key to sustainability activities in today's fashion behaviors. How bringing value to accountability is necessary to help train professional designers to find their voices to bring change to their industry. This graph represents the prior knowledge and the gained knowledge of brand new stakeholders. This graph shows how workshop trainings can bring understanding in just 2-day workshop. That change can be made by choices that create better product, but also create better epistemological and ontological accountability, and can raise a brand's external credibility and trustworthiness. The efforts of a single brand's design team can make a huge impact. My parting question to my classmates and my colleagues: who is held accountable for fashion sustainability? Who makes the choices in the fashion industry, the choices that impact the styles, and perhaps more importantly, the choices of what fiber and in what country and in what time frame and for what price and at what volume? All of these choices impact the peoples doing the work and the resources being used to generate the volumes of product. So again, who is accountable? Is it the business, the designers, the consumers, or is it the planet?